Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the school committee. It is May 9th, and it's a special meeting because we get to recognize some long-serving employees. I would like to start with that recognition process, then we will recess for some refreshments, and then we'll resume our meeting. So without further ado, I would like to ask Chris Panarisi, principal of the Deacon School, to come up and recognize her long-serving employee. Chris, you need a mic.
Right on the table.
Why don't you grab that mic? And your certificate is right there.
In the pin.
Yes. This is for 20 years of service. Michelle Myers.
Speak up loud so everyone here can hear you. The microphone only goes to TV.
Oh, okay. Michelle Myers for 20 years of service at actually 3 schools. We have the Hammond. No, we have the East. 4 schools. We have the East. We have the Hammond, the Deacon's, and Minot. And we're very happy that Michelle ended up at the Deacon's school. At the Deacon's school, Michelle is one of those people that is always helping others. I have caught her planning for other people, new teachers. I have caught her coming in very early in the morning at 7 o'clock, and she is totally dedicated to her students. She will come to me with honest feedback that helps me be a better principal, and I thank you for that. She is incredibly funny. She's enjoyable to be around. She has great Christmas parties. I'm not just making this up. This woman is a wonderful person. She's an incredible teacher, and we are so very grateful that she's at the Deacon's School. Congratulations.
Principal Palladino.
Okay, next. Okay.
Cafeteria
Good.
voice.
There you go. Next, we're going to recognize from Wareham High School my current assistant principal, Debbie Freitas, and I had to write everything down here in regards to all the jobs she's held over the 20 years that she's been at Wareham High School. Many people didn't know that she started off actually as an even start teacher at Wareham High School, then became an English teacher, English department head, dean of students, and currently she's the assistant principal here at Wareham High School. Debbie, as many of you know, is a tireless worker, very organized, integral part to Wareham High School. I know Dr. Rabinovich one time said to me, I know if it's after 5 and I need to get someone at the high school, I know who to call. And it certainly is Debbie. Behind the scenes, she's pretty much what makes things run at Wareham High School, and we're very lucky to have you on board. So thank you. And next, I'm going to bring up Mr. Tatro, Director of Transportation.
This is Linda McNeil. She's been driving a school bus for Wareham for 20 years, but she drove before that for who knows how many years before that. There's someone in this room who's getting their 20-year award tonight who she drove to school on their very first school bus.
She drove me too.
She also has driven other people in this room on the school bus. Linda has been a dedicated school bus driver to Wareham School Department for over 20 years. Over that time, she's driven every route in Wareham and has driven thousands of children to school over her bus driving career. She has driven for the Wareham School Department for 20 years, but drove for several years prior to coming to work for the school department. For the past 10 years, Linda has driven out-of-district special needs students. She has had to deal with many different types of student needs, and she has met every challenge that she's been faced with. She has always been willing to help out other staff members, and me, because I do need a lot of help at times, in any way that she could. She's often asked questions about various types of student securement systems and restraints. and she's always there to offer her experience and expertise. She is very reliable and comes to work every day. I never have to worry about her run. It's been a pleasure working with Linda for the past few years.
Yeah.
So first I'm going to call up Denise Tobin. So Denise has had one of the distinctions that I've had. Oh, you have to come closer. You have to face the audience. Denise has worked in multiple schools. She started at the Deacon School. She was in the Learning Center. She's been at the Minot Forest School, working at the Learning Center, and now she's at the East Wareham Preschool in the Learning Center. She's dedicated to her students. When I came to the Minot Forest School, she was a wonderful inspiration to the staff, to the students, to the children. She did the Special Olympics, ran that for a couple of years, and she always was looking for a new challenge. And she said, if we ever have a population of students that are different from what I have, I would love to work with them. And lo and behold, we had a program that we were able to open up at the East Wareham School with the preschoolers, and Denise wanted to go over there and work with those children, and that's where she's been ever since. And she's now going for her administrative license, which I'm excited for her. I think it's a wonderful career step for her. I've loved working with her in all the buildings that I've been in and that she's been in. And she's on my school council and just such a nice contributing member of our staff. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you. You're welcome.
Everybody.
Nancy Ames, please. So Nancy and Denise are being recognized for their 20 years of service in Wareham. And Nancy started out as a guidance counselor at the Minot Forest School, did a wonderful job as guidance counselor. And then when the role of assistant principal came up, she applied for it, and I loved the work that Nancy did as guidance counselor, knowing the laws and the regulations in special ed, which you know is a huge part of a job of administrator. So Nancy became the assistant principal at the Hammond School and the East School. I can't do the job that I do in my 3 buildings as principal without effective assistant principals, Mr. Paling being one, Mrs. Ames being another. She single-handedly ran the NIAC accreditation process for both schools. The amount of paperwork that involves in directing the staff, because she had to lead the staff through professional development, making sure everything was done, running last minute, to get the outlet covers before the accreditors came for NIAC. Everything that we needed to do to get the accreditation, she was able to do with the help of everybody else. She's been the supervisor of attendance, always making sure, looking out for the children. And when we have difficult choices to make, she's always one that will think outside of the box. Or she'll say, well, I've been thinking, Mrs. Siemens. And she comes up with some wonderful ideas and really things that we need to think about. As I said, I can't do the job that I have done in the 10 years I've been here in Wareham. And I'm very thankful for her guidance because she's helped me along the way. I'm very thankful for her friendship as well. So I want to congratulate you on your 20 years. And the last employee I'd like to recognize, she's not here this evening, is Joanne Sparrow. Joanne Sparrow has been in Wareham for 20 years. She's my secretary at Minot Forest. And again, I can't do the job that I do without a wonderful secretary. She keeps me on my toes. She reminds me of projects that are coming up, or do we have to send out those surveys for the school improvement plan? Very efficient, knows what she's doing, handles the office very well, is a great staff person. So although she's not here this evening, I want to recognize her for her 20 years. Thank you.
This evening I have the distinct pleasure and privilege to honor 3 staff members who are here and to recognize 2 others who are not here this evening. And the first one I'd like to recognize is Mrs. Kathy Lyons, completing 30 years of service here in Wareham, a tremendous guidance counselor and school psychologist. She has the training and background to work with the special ed population, to do the testing, and most importantly to deal with the students and provide them guidance either individually or in small group. To think of the number of students that she has served during the time of the 30 years that she has been here, I would like to present this certificate to Kathy and feel very privileged that you're here. Thank you.
Oh, and that's the right pin.
Oh, sorry. The next person I'd like to recognize is Miss Cindy Bliss. Cindy is a grade 8 English language arts teacher in the Franklin team. She is also the advisor to our writing club. She is a tremendous encourager of students to write, to read. I love participating on Fridays in her reading day, where every student has to have a book, has to find a comfortable spot, and reads for 57 minutes, or 68 minutes, depending on the length of the period. They also get a little nourishment as well, but Cindy works well in nourishing students, in doing their best, becoming great writers. That's why she started the writing club. That's why she got us involved in the UMass Boston program for those students who are gifted writers. So Cindy, thank you very much for all your contributions to Wareham Middle School. And it's a pleasure to recognize you for your 20 years. And I understand it's really probably about 25 years of service. Could be 40. To the students of Wareham. And now I'd like to introduce Mrs. Denise Davidson.
Hi, classmate.
I still have to give him a backhand every once in a while.
Denise is, I call her the concierge of Wareham Middle School. She has more jobs and responsibilities in the main office, and she's the first face that the public sees, which is a tremendous advantage and a gift that I have by being the principal of having her out there in the office. And I tell her that it's an amazing feat that she's able to juggle all the things that she does. And she is, as Kathy is the professionally trained guidance counselor, Denise serves in that same purpose to many, many parents and many, many students and staff here at Wareham Middle School. So Denise, thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for all the contributions you make to Wareham Middle School. And thank you for being the concierge in the main office. So I'd like to present you this certificate of 20 years and the pin that goes with it. One of the folks who could not be here this evening because she's with her newest grandchild, boy that was just born a few days ago, and that's Judy Silva. As you come into this building to Wareham Middle School, I think you will recognize that the building is maintained in a very, very wonderful way. Judy is a tremendous head custodian. She makes sure that the building is here. She's very gracious with the people who use the building. We love to have the building used, and with that comes the necessary headaches, I guess, that goes with making sure that it's maintained, that it's clean, that it's ready for use every single day. And Judy does a tremendous job, and again, recognizing her for 20 years of service. And the last person I'd like to recognize is Mrs. Kathleen Dwyer Murphy. And I would like to recognize her. She's our health teacher. She was at the elementary level as well as here at the middle school. And she does a tremendous job teaching health to our students. She has all of the students, grades 6, 7, and 8, that she is. And she will be retiring at the end of October. And again, I would like to recognize her for her 20 years of service as well. And health.
And last but certainly not least, we get to recognize 20 years of service to Wareham by Dr. Barry Rabinovich. Please come up, Barry. There are lots of things that can be said. Some people probably think that Barry was sort of hatched at the Wareham Middle School. He was always there, right? But in fact, he has, I actually guessed 15 years a few minutes ago, and he said, no, it was 20 years at the Boston Public Schools as a teacher. So he knows an awful lot about education after 20 years times 2. I have actually only known Barry about 6 years in his prior role as assistant superintendent and now as superintendent. It is really easy, and I say this from observation, experience, to get to the pinnacle of your profession, and trust me, it's not school committee, it's superintendent, to get to the pinnacle of your profession and say, I've made it. I can now relax. I'm the boss. It's good to be king. But in fact, it's not. The burdens really do stop right there. The buck really does stop right there. When things go wrong, it stops right there. So anybody who thinks when you get to this lofty position, you can just relax, it simply isn't true. But yet, frankly, there are a lot of people who get to high positions in management who do relax and say, I've made it. It is to the enormous credit of this individual that I have been the beneficiary of witnessing initiative after initiative after initiative to benefit the students of Wareham school system. It is a tremendous pleasure to be able to say that this guy is not resting on his laurels. This guy is trying every single day to do something new and different to make a difference for the children and ultimately the parents of Wareham. So it's an honor, it's a privilege, it's all of those things to thank Dr. Barry Rabinovich for 20 years of service to this community. And now we can have some refreshments and thank everybody personally. We'll recess for however long it takes, Bruce.